building up a platform where hope can
Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nikki Clarke, and the show is where we share inspiring stories, powerful conversations, and real transformation. Today's guest is Patrice Bisiot, a Franco-American executive brand coach, keynote speaker, author, and CEO World contributor. Now, through his work, Patrice helps leaders, entrepreneurs, and organizations strengthen their leadership presence, build authentic connections, and align their personal brand with their true identity. Having overcome significant personal and financial challenges, Patrice now inspires others through his nanosecond impact philosophy and his upcoming book, Mind Your Brand. So please join me in welcoming Patrice. Welcome.
Merci, Nikki. Bonjour.
Bonjour. Ça va?
Ça va et toi?
Excellent. Well, it's good to see you. And
Good seeing you too. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Tell us, Patrice, about your journey and what led you to do the work that you do today.
Yes. So the journey started in Paris, and I was always very, very clear about three things. I was going to be an entrepreneur. I knew a boss on top of me. It didn't seem to be something that aligned with me. I wanted to be an artist and do something that was going to be fun and creative. And every day I would have fun with what I'm doing and not just going through the process, but instead of by default, it was by choice and helping others. And I didn't know what that looked like in any reality because I was too young for that. But I understood those three concepts, those fundamentals were clear. And it became hair, and hair became working with runway and celebrities already very young. And by the age of 18, I'm managing 3 salons for one of the top brands in Paris. And I also get to know that, okay, I'm loving the leadership, loving the artistry, loving all that. And I'm helping building brands and teams. But okay, what else? So what else became, I moved to the US. And by the age 18, now I'm managing a salon in Bal Harbour Shops, for those who know Miami, which is the Fifth Avenue of Miami. And in it, very quickly, I said, okay, got to be on my own. A year later, I opened my salon and spa. But from that, that's really where I started understanding, okay, the world is too big to just be here in one place. So that's when I started working with Hollywood, when I hired my PR, working with celebrities, global leaders, and understanding something fundamental, which was how understanding that appearance, which is something I've been fascinated by when I was a kid, is how does that look like from a backstage perspective? And knowing that the way you present yourself is not just putting clothes on and doing your hair. It's about what is the message behind it. And why do two people go through the same situation and yet they have two very different outcomes? How does that all work? So this became my philosophy. And I started putting my clients through a coaching program that became more and more intricate. And that started to becoming my branding coaching program. And because I've worked with leaders and I work with Fortune 500 and all that, it got to be very precise in how to go about coaching them and understanding how can I help you to where you are, where you're stuck, into understanding more on the intuitive intelligence part of your life. So now you can build your brand, you can expand, you can align with yourself. And now you understand that the way you present yourself, that nanosecond impact you make when you walk into the room on the red carpet or in front of the media, becomes crucial to tell the world who you are. And your life story, you broadcast it in literally a nanosecond. And that has been my passion ever since.
Fantastic. Now, I know you've been fascinated by neuroscience and human behavior. Now, what sparked that interest?
I was a kid when my mom said, honey, you need to stop staring at people. That's rude. And I said, Mom, I'm not staring at them. I'm studying them. And she said, actually, I know you do. And she said, I know. When you look at people, it looks like you have a laser beam going through their souls. And it was a little abstract to me because I was scared. And I was about 9 years old, I think, when that happened. But I was like, yeah, I do that. Like, I know I'm wondering what's behind all that. Again, why do people react a certain way upon a situation where I feel like they didn't take enough step back in order to understand that situation? also, why do people understand how they get put together, but it's not in a fashion way. It's in a way where I'm understanding the message they're saying versus that. And psychology became very quickly something I was passionate about. And I got this diploma in France, which is called brevet professionnel. And in it is because when you want to own your business, there is a part of that diploma that's called psychopedagogy, which is the study of the teenager, because you're supposed to be a boss taking an apprentice from teenage into adulthood and training them to become a hairstylist. And that was a great ignition into, yes, I get it. I get how I love the human mechanics and the brains, and also understanding that actually it's not as complicated as they make it to be. To me, I thought it was logical. It was very 1, 2, 3 sort of process. And I wanted to go deeper and understand, why do people react a certain way? Why is it in front of that situation that people will react very differently when they are looking at the same thing? Why going through a situation now, why and how? And that's been always my fascination.
I love it. So let's talk more about Mind Your Brand. What does that mean to you?
It means to me that's my third book, and it's the evolution of what I did from Mind Your Hair to Mind Your Impact. Mind Your Brand is because the fact of how people translate the word branding, I have to admit, drive me crazy. Why? Because social media has managed to chaotically create this confusion in people's mind. And your brand, what is your brand? So branding became this thing where it's like, oh, you fabricate out of thin air. I don't know really what it is. It was like the cloud. Remember when we used the word the cloud? I don't really know what it is, but it's something. It's kind of a storage somewhere. It's virtual. Same thing here. It was so abstract that I'm like, no, branding is a very easy concept. It's the message you literally telling the world. The moment you show up, the life story you wear on you, that is your brand. Because before people know about your credentials, your intelligence, your business card, or what your website looks like, they want to know, well, can I trust that person? And again, it goes back to the nanosecond impact we make. Can I trust you? Yes, good vibe. I'm going to talk to you. We're going to do business together. I'll go on a second date because it's personal, professional, all together and at all times. And that's what branding had to be explained and not put into a process to say, how do I build my brand? Well, it's not magic. It's just understanding that now we're going to do a deep dive into identifying who you are. What does that nanosecond to you looks like, and how do you want to be perceived? How does that life story you tell one in a second or a nanosecond, because literally biologically it's less than a nanosecond even, that is the moment that you're going to make your impact, and it's going to be a yes or a no, whether it's the job interview, the promotion, you're pitching your biggest client of your life, or again, you're going on a date. That's what it is. And that's branding had to be demystified in order to take from complicated into simple in an actionable steps that I'm creating in the book.
Excellent. So let's expand on what you are explaining about the nanosecond impact philosophy. How can people apply it in everyday life? What are some steps?
People have always this thing, most people, they want the magical trick. All right. They want to lose weight. Let's take a pill. I want to look younger. Well, let's do. And it's fine because society has created that. Branding takes time. The way people are educating themselves, for instance, you have to do your continuing education, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever you are, you have to spend time so then you nurture that career. But it's the same thing for us. I mean, human beings are reactive beings, vibrational beings. We keep evolving, and upon the experience we go through, that experience nurture us into one way or the other. And that is how everything starts. You build your brand upon recognizing who you are and how it comes from the roots. And of course, we are the product of our childhood. So let's go back in time, understand all those pieces, put them apart, and now how do we go from departure to destination?
Excellent. So expanding on that thought, what are some of the common mistakes people make when trying to build influence and credibility?
All right away is they think I'm going to help them with their marketing tips and tricks. I don't do that. What time should I be posting? What does my post looks like? How many followers am I going to get? Because everything now is about metrics. It's about how many followers do I have? And do I compete with all those people that are influencing the world, which really, I mean, it's a whole other debate. But looking at them and it's like poor quality, but then, oh, they have so many millions of followers. They must be good. No, it doesn't make them good. By no means. It is about understanding, wait. Until we go to the metrics and how many followers, be true to yourself. How is your life looking to you? What is your passion? How do you wake up in the morning aligning from what you want to do with what you are doing? Are you living your life by default or are you living it by choice? That is your brand right there. That is the core of how do we build from where you are, because people will come to me, they want the magic solution. They think of me as the wardrobe hairstylist, the mind magician, whatever. I'm going to give them, maybe a pamphlet or some sort of manifesto, and it's like, read it, learn it by heart, we're good to go. Instead, now they realize that it's going to be 9 weeks together, because my one-on-one is 9 weeks. Every week we meet for 2 hours. Now it's like, wow, oh, now I get to learn. Oh my God, I never thought of me as that. I never thought of those questions. And that's how little by little people get to realize that your brand is just the essence of your emotions, your value, of what you believe in. How do you want people to understand all those values? And that's how we start formatting the whole thing about building a brand.
Excellent. Patrice, can we talk a little bit about, you experienced tremendous success early and later in life, significant financial hardship. What did those experiences teach you?
Yes, that's exactly it. So, build a ton of success. I'm super arrogant about my success. I'm like, please move. I got that. Yeah, except, yeah. Well, bad partnership, bad investments, bad a lot of things, because arrogance and ego are never really a good route for any kind of success. So it's not sustainable. And oops, so 2010 came around. Well, 2008 first came around as the crash, the universal crash that we know with the market and real estate and all. And I was part of that. I had 4 businesses, thriving businesses, a very bad business partner who stole from me, all those years. I discovered that later, but then, took me for the count, cleaned up the accounts, and literally within 4 weeks, everything disappeared. So all the cars and the homes and the whatever just got to disappear, and I ended up sleeping in my car. And as I'm wrapping myself in my beautiful Versace blanket, which costs thousands of dollars, well, I'm in the street. I'm actually homeless. So, how does that look like? And I thought for anyone, no one could go from where I was to this. I used to think, of course, as a young person, you're going to be a loser. How can you go from there? And in that process, that's when I finally stopped and said, okay. What is my vision, mission, and purpose? How do I go about being happy every day instead of worrying about who loves me, how much money do I have, or what is the next skill and what is the next deal? It's how am I going to live tomorrow? First of all, to be alive, appreciate that life, and not having dark ideas, because believe me, at the time, I had for a second, a hot second, a hot minute, whatever it is, I had dark ideas of, what to do. And then I said, what is wrong with me? No, I have it all. I just need to figure out now my way of aligning what I want, who am I, and where I'm going. And that's where everything became super clear. And this is actually shortly after when the first book came out, because everything became, I love my art. I still want to help people. I came to the US to make a success out of myself, but not anymore just as we know it with how many millions on your account do you have, but how many lives do you touch? How happy am I when I wake up in the morning? Am I looking at everything being grateful, or am I just taking it for granted? And that's not going to go really far. So that's what taught me. And it was the most amazing lesson. And it's funny now when people say, oh my God, I'm so sorry for you. I'm like, actually, that was the best lesson I've ever received. I don't look at it as a victim thing. I received it as a gift from God, because it was like, I needed to be stopped in my race in order to learn. It's not even a reset. I had to just set, because I never really set anything. I just kept on going for the race and the rat race of money and fame and glory. So It was the most exhilarating experience.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. How can leaders, Patrice, create stronger human connections in an increasingly disconnected world?
Because now we're turning into the society of me, 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 me. Again, it's the popularity contest, the followers, the amount of them. It's about stop. You want to be a great leader? Listen, everyone has a story to tell, the way you just asked me the question. I'm sure you can share with us the hardship that you went through. Listening is one thing, embracing life as well. And, I don't tell my clients right away, but there's going to be a big spirituality component into what we're going to do for 9 weeks. Of course, if I say that right off the bat, they'll be like, I don't know what he's drinking or taking. I'm out. Okay. Instead, it's like, get there. Yeah, because I think, oh God, Frenchie, But in that, it's realizing that now, actually, if you cannot stop right here, right now, how are you going to lead others? Because it starts at home. If you cannot leave your house fully aligned, saying, yeah, today is going to be a great day. How are you going to guide, teach, coach, inspire, lead? There is no way. That's why when people say, oh, I could just, fake it. Fake it until you make it. I don't know who invented this stupid expression. No, you don't fake it until you make it. You can to some extent. I've done it for some situations when I was much younger. But authenticity, that's what you need to bring to the table. You want to change lives? Change yours first. That is where it starts. The mirror. When you look at the mirror, are you avoiding it? Or are you looking at it and picking on everything that you think is wrong with you? Or saying, yeah, I'm in, and now I can go out there and inspire the world. That's what it starts. That's how it starts, and that's how leadership starts.
Excellent. So it has a lot to do with emotional alignment.
Everything is about
Excellent.
emotion. Every decision we make.
Absolutely. When I started the show and my intention was to have authentic storytelling, I had to do the work too of being vulnerable and sharing my own, journey. So absolutely, emotional alignment plays a big part in personal branding. So here's, we're coming to the close. Question for you is, what legacy do you hope to leave through your work?
I'm not hoping to leave. I'm leaving a legacy of changing lives in making people think differently about themselves, how to build themselves up, and not some sort of Buddhist concept that I read on Instagram. No, it's about saying, yeah, I came up with a concept and it's actionable steps that are going to change people's life. That's my legacy. The books that I'm writing them with all my heart. Like Mind Your Brand is like, and that's funny. It's like an artist, every time they do, whether an LP, an album or something, oh my God, that's my best work. It is my best work yet. And that's the legacy. That is showing that you can touch lives. You can stop your life for sharing it with others. And it doesn't mean to forget about yourself. It's forgetting about just being me, 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 and creating a community. And that's my legacy.
I love that. All right. Patrice, are you ready for some rapid fire questions? Answer in one word or?
Yeah. Go for it, girl.
Okay, let's go. Morning person or night owl?
Night owl, for sure.
One word that describes your journey.
Authenticity.
What's your superpower?
Kindness.
What lesson has life taught you?
Be patient.
If you weren't doing this work, what would you be doing?
Anything artistic, anything fun. I would be a designer, a clothes designer, evening wear. That's what I would do.
What motivates you every day?
I'm alive. I wake up every day. I don't hurt. And that's a great day.
One piece of advice for younger Patrice, what would you tell him?
Relax in the process. It's okay. Everything will come. Everything has its own time. Don't rush things. Just wait for them, not passively, but observe them, and they'll come to you.
Final rapid fire question. Fill in the blank. The most important thing people can do is?
loving themselves.
I think I have one more question for you. If your life had a title, what would it be and why?
If my life had a title,
What would
is
it
that what you
be?
said? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
why?
Yeah. I didn't know if I heard well the beginning. What my life would be? The incredible journey of Patrice Bisiot.
I love it. Patrice, thank you so much. It's been a joy listening to you, and thank you so much for the work that you do. Where can people purchase the books and follow you on social media?
Yeah, so as of now, it's the e-version is on Amazon, so you can find it there. But the hard copy, which I'm really keeping the momentum for that because a lot of things is going to happen. There's going to be some contests. We'll work together. I mean, I'll be happy to extend that to your listenership. So we're going to have, the hard copy is coming out at the end of September. But in the meantime, you can join me directly on Facebook. It's Image Impact Index. So you could just join me as Patrice Bisiot, Bisiot. And now any and every question you have, again, I'm about community. I will answer your question. I'm busy, but I promise you within a day or two, you will get your answer. So anything related to self-development, leadership, branding, I'm here.
And art. Can we ask you some artful questions?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. And I noticed the art behind you. Can you tell us about that before we go?
Oh wow, yes, okay, yeah, of course. I'm totally, actually in the 2010 moment, I was working with I just started working out just before everything happened with a yogi, and he taught me a great thing, which is meditation. That's something I couldn't do. I couldn't stop for a second. I closed my eyes and the chatterbox was going crazy. So I made my self-discovery through meditation. And it took me a long time to really master that moment in time where everything needs to stop or at least relax. And then, so Buddha became something that I was always attracted to. Buddhas, figure statues, art. There was always something that drew me to them without really knowing why until it became very meaningful in my life. So this is really the symbol of alignment. That's the symbol of self-love and of peace. That meditation I do every morning, that is what I did. So I did a series of 3 where there's the blue, the silver, and the white, which is the environment that I wanted to do. And then the medium is wood. Instead of being normally I paint oil on canvas, but this is on wood. So I wanted something more organic, something that felt like art even more so.
I love it. Well, I really appreciate your candor, your incredible journey, and the lasting impact that you're leaving with the community that you've created and continuing to expand globally. And I'm glad to be part of it. So I thank you again, Patrice Bisiot. Please, viewers, reach out to him on social media and tap into his wisdom. And I want to thank you all for being a part of the show today. And remember, stay informed, stay transformed, and we'll see you next time. God bless. Bye for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki.